Okay, God damn it. I try and keep my phone clear. This is part two, or a little stub end of Clearing the Plains, my read along with Sean the Book Maniac, chapter 6. This is part two, the little stub end, because I tried to delete everything off my phone, but I forgot to actually, you delete it, it goes into the bin, and then you empty the bin. There's a two-step process to get rid of videos that I've already uploaded to YouTube. So yeah, I was just saying at the very end of my cutoff for my last thing is we're shifting from the mercantilism system to kind of the modern capitalist freer trade system. And the thing with this is that colonies became viewed by Britain as Britain, UK, as not just like, oh, we're going to be suck all the money from them and extract all the resources and the money from them and enrich ourselves. They started to be seen as a burden to Britain, and that the way to actually run things was to actually detach their economy from from the colony's economy, and work that way. Let's just wave our hands over how well I understood all that. But it was basically, yeah, we're going to give Canada its economic freedom. Oh, and we'll also give it political freedom at the same time. We've done one, we'll do the other. Sort of that idea. And, they saw how well it worked with trying to hold on to the Americans when they were very still mercantile system. And indeed, Canada wouldn't get full political freedom for a good long while, but it was loosening the reins. So as a result of that, you also have stuff like the HBC, being the Hudson Bay Company, and their monopoly on an area was also seen as something that, well, we're going to give that up. So that collapsed. And some parts of me wonder, it's like, is this one of these things where a part of this was that the Canadian government was rushing to catch up? It's like, they weren't like revolutionaries like the Americans. It's like the mother country suddenly kind of gave in, and it's like you get all your economic freedoms, you get your economic freedoms, you get your political freedoms, and it's like, holy shit, we have to kind of set this up quickly, and the HBC goes down before they can maybe set up something properly here to hold it together. I mean, or they just didn't give a fuck about it because it was somewhere over there, and freaking Ontario and Quebec don't give a shit about Western Canada, which I don't know. As a Western Canadian, that might just be a bias on might be a bias on this Western Canadian point of view. How much Eastern Canada really gives a crap about us out here, but so there's definitely, you wonder how much of that. That is also happening at the same time. So it's one of these, it's like it's happening to Canada, but then it's also tumbling down, and it's also happening to the native people of the region. But the fact that we're going to get to the whole point of the real failure, the fall down of promises being made, is going to be the really shitty part. Yeah, sorry. Having split the video, I probably have popped my brain from one thing to another, but I think I got it all. Yeah, just that larger picture. I think James Daschuk is really, really good at his specifics, and we're very kind of narrowed in on this area, and from the native perspective, which is what the perspective should be on this narrow thing. It's just, I'm finding it also very useful to have a very kind of broad kind of canvas overview that I'm kind of learning at the same time, just to sometimes fill in some of the spaces, and to kind of come up with interpretations of why the Canadian government is doing what they're doing, not to excuse the Canadian government for what they're doing, because I think a lot of this comes down to, there are people of a different color who are natives that we don't really care that much about. So if they're dying, we'll get around to it. And by the time they get around to it, the epidemic's already over. It's like, that's the bad sign. And stuff like this Morris guy, who I have to look up his name before I talk to Sean, talking about, like, if we give them too much, if we give them food aid, they'll just be lazy. It's like, you can see there's that underlying racism that is going to be lethal the native population, and shows exactly how much the Canadians care. They care about settling white settlers on this land and solving the Indian problem. That's the phrase that's going to come up, and it's like, fuck you, fuck you. At least from 2020 perspective, that's definitely. And I mean, I'm someone who is sitting on Vancouver Island, on native land. So how much I have any moral authority to actually say that? Probably zero. But I can at least learn about it and educate myself, which is what I'm trying to do. All right, I will stop there. Then I will gather myself and try and do this little talk in less time, so I don't bore the hell out of poor Sean, who I'm going to do my check-in with. Talk to you later.